I'm on page 30. Page 30. Um, Something I noticed reading this book here is disturbing me so bad. I just stay one place, please. Oh, okay. Don't know how I'm going to fix this. Let me try. Permanent solution. I don't know why we are falling off, to be honest. Trying to my whatever there. So no, it's kind of a mess here. I feel like it would work better if I used a board of paint. So as usual, these people are making a whole lot of noise. Um, are making a whole lot of noise. I don't think they're going to end it anytime soon. Probably very late in the night because they definitely rented this field close to my house for the day. So when nighttime comes, they would go their separate ways. The event would end. But anyways, I was like, let me not allow that to stop my life. I really don't know how, it might be coming off. I've looked everywhere and the noise is still very pervasive. Anyways, this is the book I'm reading now. Good morning, Aubrey. It is actually afternoon here, so but thank you for coming to the chat. Hello, how was your day today, or how is your day going so far? I hope, like, can you hear the noise, like, loudly in the chat? Like, can you hear it on the stream? I don't know how it's coming across to you. These people are playing loud music, and I don't want, my viewers to be disturbed. But there's nothing I can do about it. Oh, okay, okay. So this I'm started reading Frankenstein here, and I'm on page 30 where Captain Walton has met this strange man that they rescued from the ice. Hello, Yashwant. Everybody subscribe to the channel, okay? Don't forget to subscribe and support me. So this is story, and this is the book I'm reading now currently. I'm reading on page 30, and but that's not the story I want to talk about here today. I just wanted to, I just wanted to. No, I did not. I don't have anything actually. I don't have any errands to run today, so I didn't need to go outside today. Subscribe to the channel. So this is the book I'm reading right now, Frankenstein Mary Shelley, and I just got through with the introduction, the introduction, and then the notes by Mary Shelley herself, and then the preface given by her husband. What's his name? Percy. I think his name is Percy. Is it? Anyways, I just got done with that, so I started the chapters and all of that. But that's not exactly the story I wanted to tell. Yeah, you need to get outside around people today. Oh, I don't have anything to do outside, so I don't need to be outside today. I don't have any reason to go outside. Also, there are no like pleasant parks around that I can just go and sit and watch birds and watch people and meet people. Yeah, there's nothing like that in this the topography of my area. We just have one big road or one long road that is very bad and very bad. Like it's very bad. So it's not like a street or an environment that you can take walks on. Yeah, easily. It's so clustered. It's not comfortable to do that here. So aside from running errands or doing something that necessitates me being outside, or necessitates one to be outside, you can't just really go outside, yeah. And then the sun is, stifling, really stifling today. So anyways, that's not the story I wanted to tell. Yeah, I wanted to tell a story about something I saw online. Yes, and it's going to lead into like a very, like I wanted to lead into sort of conversation with everybody else. Yeah, so you can feel free to contribute to the conversation. I hope you feel comfortable enough to contribute to the conversation. So the state I'm living, my country is divided into states here. So the state I live in, there is this particular area, yeah, in my state where uh, it's called island. Yeah, it's, a, it's an island actually. It's very islandy. The whole state is an island, but this particular part of the state is separated from the mainland. That's where I live. I live on the mainland. Yeah, so it's separated by this very long bridge. And so people that live on the other side of the bridge, that's the island. Yeah. Hello, Eli. Welcome to the chat. People that live on the island, yeah, they, how to say it, that is where most expats, that work in our country stay. That place is more, how to say it, it's very wealthy. It's for the wealthy. The rent there is quite expensive, and it's not the kind of rent you bargain with the estate agents, because it's just a giving of, it's like a feature of living on the island. Yeah, you should expect prices to be insane amounts. And so some people have this aspiration here in this state I live in, that when they make money they move to the island, because there on the island we have steady electricity supply. We have access to a lot of aesthetic enjoyment of the state. Like, if you're on the island, you can visit a park nearby, you can take a walk. The topography on the island is nicer than this place, because most of the roads are made with paving stones. Here, all of the roads here are just like sand and gravel, and sometimes eroded by rain and all of that. So when you live on the island, the luxury that people that pay that amount of money demand to see is met by the government in that area, of the state. But because of how people are very hardworking in my country, that's what I would say. There are a lot of hardworking people, or people that are very desperate to make it. Yeah. So a sign of making it is living on the island. So some people would, work hard and then move to the island. You can't really ask them how they made it to the island, yeah, or how they are paying rent. All you just hear is that, oh, I moved to the island, yeah. And sometimes some of these living situations are not ideal, but you wouldn't see that, because on social media everybody fronts that, oh, I'm living on the island. The island is so cool, it's so posh, it's so everything. So nobody will tell you, it's not really popular to talk about how ugly it is on the island, except during raining season. So that's why I brought the conversation of this state being an island, yeah, a literal island. During raining season, because of the greed and the push towards aestheticizing and rapid development of that area, a lot of people would buy lands, as like they'll buy beaches, plots of beaches, yeah, and they would fill it up and start, hurriedly developing properties on the beach, yeah. And these buildings, yeah, they furnish it so luxuriously, and they post posters everywhere. They make flyers on social media. You see them promoting, estates, properties, and all of that. Several story buildings and all of that. And people buy the hype during dry seasons. We have two seasons: rainy season and dry season. So during the dry seasons, a lot of people, used to rent apartments on the island, and they would enjoy like a waterfront view. They'll say the waterfront view is what the exorbitant rent prices here. So they would move into those places, and you would just see them like flexing, their wealth and how they are now at the highest status in life than people that are on the island. Yeah, it's just a thing. It's a sign of achievement. Yeah, because this society is a very class society, class-based society. So as a sign of upward mobility, you would end up living in places like the island. Yeah. So the story here is about a particular lady. Yeah, she during um raining season. Before I get to the lady story, like I said, nobody really shows the ugly side of living on the island. Yeah, everybody just flexes about the clubs, the beach, the parties, the rubbing shoulders with celebrities randomly and all of that. So. But during rainy season, they started to flood social media with their complaints. How the government, because most of these real estate properties are approved by what our local government, yeah, the local government of the area. So the local government allowed permits, for buildings to go up on beachfront without recognizing the danger that kind of like a monsoon season would present, where the beaches would be the beaches would have high tides and flow off into people's houses, people's properties. Yeah. So we began to see that complaint. During rainy season, you'd see a lot of posts on social media of how these people that are living on the island, have been flooded out of their homes due to the beach water. How people especially if you rented an apartment, yeah, on the lower floors, yeah, even if you were up there, how would you come down when the entire compound is flooded there? So it doesn't matter if you're up or down, yeah, the beaches would affect the property. So the waters would flow during rainy season, and then they have very bad drainage systems there, because their drainage goes into the beach. Yeah. So if the gutters overflow, all of the sewage comes back up and goes into these people's houses. So it's like really horrible for them during rainy season. Yeah. So they'll post pictures about how, or videos of how, how much they're suffering, how they have to really they can't commute to work. They have to spend half of the time they paid for their rent outside their house because of raining season, and it's not because of the rain, it's just because of what the corrupt government practices. Yeah. And also, okay, so where I'm getting to is this issue of, well, let me continue the story, then we see the point of the story. So this lady now, this particular lady, yeah, a few months back when the rains were very intense, she had this post, and she made this video about how the rains, flooded her home to the extent that the water was around her ankles. And she was like nearly crying in the video because of how frustrated she was and how she didn't know how, like, to what to do next. You get, and there are a lot of support in the comment, as they usually are with people that post things like that. People say, oh, things like, oh, the government needs to step in, like, this is wrong, this is odd, this is corruption. You get. um so anyways, this lady made the post, and the water was around her ankles. And then she made another post, and now at that time the water was like on her torso. Yeah, that was the level of the water. And level of water was at her torso point. Yeah, so she was like crying. But then, and she's a very short lady, so somebody eventually had to carry her on their back and move her out of her home. Else she would have probably been like, drowned by the water levels, the rising water levels. And people were really like very sorry on her behalf. And but she's just one person among thousands of people that had to, not thousands, maybe hundreds of people that had to like relocate from their expensive apartment here to um avoid, the destruction of that. In fact, most of their properties were destroyed, like their TV sets, their generators, their cars, all of it were submerged, underwater. They were destroyed by the rains and all of that. So anyways, also the water was very, very bad. Like, it's sewage water, literally. It's not even beach water, it's sewage. Yeah, the gutters had overflowed and all of that. So this lady, she eventually got help to move out of her house, not to move out of the apartment, but to like leave the house, at this point of extreme rains and all of that. So that was a few months back. Now, I think yesterday, or reference 2 days ago, yesterday or today, I don't know. The same lady, now made a post on the same Twitter. Like, she said something like, there's a particular eatery called Item 7 in this country, and they started from another state, not my state. They started in another state, and they grew so big, they prospered, that they had branches in a second state, and then my state is the third state. They opened their branch here. And so, because of this classism that exists, it's everywhere in my country, but there's this feeling attached to anything that is, made in my state. There's this popularity, this influence, that somebody just has on their business. If you say, oh, your business is in so states, people just assume that that business is making a lot of money. People just assume that that business is, is going to prosper because this state has a lot of big spenders, basically. So this lady that just, complained about how her property was damaged, not her property, but her apartment was damaged due to the rains, and the rains being a result of what, rapid um, development of properties on beachfront, yeah, without proper licensing, without due process, without all of those regulations in place. They just set up properties, they pay government officials, and they bribe themselves to like set up. So all of that just to maintain this whole um wealthy status of being on the island. You get, it is a package deal, yeah. If you buy properties on the island, if you build properties on the island, you're going to make a lot of money. Like, in fact, you're already made. You get, all you have to do is make sure you're able to build properties. And why is it that you are made? Because there's already the what, how to use this word, gentrification of the island, where only rich people live there, only wealthy people live there, only foreigners to spend their dollars, their foreign currency live there. Yeah, so even if you're in Nigeria that you've not even made a dollar before, once you move there, there's this imagination that yes, I will get to the point where like the money will flow to me, that kind of thing. So there's this, the most of the intention people have for moving to the island is to achieve, class mobility from lower to upper class, yeah, to move from upper class to wealth, to elite, yeah, all of those kind of things, to meet wealthy men or to meet wealthy women, and to date above your means, or to date people from an upper class and all of that. So all of that to say, this restaurant that now opened in this on this island, yeah, they now started selling shawarma. So there's shawarma is very popular in my country. It's popular everywhere now. I mean, people like shawarma. People enjoy shawarma a lot. So anyways, shawarma, the place makes the restaurant makes shawarma. Yeah, and there's this price, 3,000 naira. 3,000 naira is the cost of one shawarma with two sausages and I think chicken or beef. Then mayonnaise and that chapati roll or something like whatever. That's the shawarma that they're selling to people for 3,000 naira. So how much is 3,000 naira in our current exchange rate? Like, if you check it in dollars, yeah, how much is that? I didn't check it, but I think last time I checked, $1 is like 1,000 something naira. So 3,000 naira is like maybe $2 or something, and 3,000 naira, yeah, as cheap as it is in dollars, is quite cheap. It's nothing, yeah, but here 3,000 naira is literally one third of some people's minimum wage salary. 3,000 naira. So shawarma is kind of a luxury food. In fact, it is now classified as a luxury meal. You can't just eat shawarma any day of the week if you are earning 10,000 naira a month as an, like, even if people that work for the government, yeah, or people that work as teachers, people that work like menial jobs, 10,000 naira is like the most basic of salaries here, and shawarma is 1/3 of one person's salary. An average Nigerian salary, shawarma is 1/3. So shawarma is what, a luxury snack. Okay, shawarma is not a meal. Oh, it's not a meal. It's not a plate of food. Yeah, but it is luxurious. You get. Now, this woman this lady that I was talking about, that had experienced all those horrors and is living on the island, and all of that and all of that. This woman comes out to talk about the restaurant and the shawarma, and she says that the people that are paying, the Nigerians that are paying 3,000 naira for one shawarma are paying with their soul. And she's not saying it as, oh, the money is too much. She was saying it as 3,000 naira should be a tip, because there are two freaking sausages inside one shawarma that cost 3,000 naira. That is 1/3 of somebody's salary a month. She says it's the sausages that is too much for somebody to pay 3,000 naira. Like, how to say? She's saying it's too small for the consumer to pay 3,000 naira for shawarma with two sausages, and that the company is literally being cheated. It's basically what she was trying to say, that the company is just, for how good the shawarma is, and how two sausages in the shawarma is cheat is like the consumers are cheating the company, because the consumers are paying 3,000 naira. 3,000 naira for a fucking shawarma that has two sausages. Two sausages. Is that not funny? I think that is very funny. Especially coming from somebody that experienced that horror just a few months ago. And then Nigerians in the comments were like, are you serious right now? Yeah, like, are you kidding right now? She was like that. No, she was kind of defending her stance, yeah. And then people are like that. Do you understand that there's something people said, that she was like, people are not like, oh, it's like you have a lot of money, that's why I'm making this type of stupid post. And she was like, oh, that's not as in she does not have that type of money. So it's like, let me believe you that you just lost your property, like you just lost your home, and maybe you are squatting right now trying to recoup, the losses of having your apartment flooded, and you still have the guts to come online and talk about how 3,000 naira is too small for a fucking shawarma by a very, very big restaurant chain. Like, because the restaurant is putting two sausages inside the shawarma, that is why 3,000 naira is too fuck. She now said 3,000 naira is a tip. But all of this, she says she spoke it with pidgin, like to appeal to the very average person online, that, oh, LMAO, what? 3K na tip. No, speak English. Speak English, because there's no fucking person that speaks pidgin on a daily that would think about how 3,000 naira is a tip. 3,000 naira. You can cook a pot of soup without meat, with just pomo. You know what pomo is? Cow skin. You can cook a pot of soup with 3,000 naira. That pot of soup will feed a family for a day. 3,000 naira. Somebody uses it to spend on one fucking shawarma with two sausages that will disappear the moment you finish eating it. When you take a walk out of the restaurant and you enter bus and you go through the traffic in the state, all the memories of shawarma have evaporated from your body. 3,000 naira is too small for that. And it's like, wait, wait, wait. So is this an ad? You get? If it's an ad, let us know. Okay? If you want to make a promo for a fucking food restaurant chain because of their stupid shawarma, just say this is an ad. Why the hell would you come out as if you are making a random observation? It's just so stupid. And I feel like it's a stupidity, that is born out of ignorance of the position you occupy in society. And it's also a clear, like, indicator that the class system in this country is very alive and well. Okay, class differences is very alive and well in this country. there is this belief, this inherent belief we are raised on, that anything expensive is quality. Okay, when you have to spend more money for shit, that means that shit is like quality than the cheap ones. But that is still a result, that is still, that thinking is born out of classism. The idea that a local man, an average man, an average person in this country should not enjoy shawarma that is good according to you, that tastes so delicious according to you. They should not enjoy it because, why should they not enjoy it? They should not enjoy it because it is very good. Yeah, like an average person should not be able to afford a very good shawarma. They should be able to afford shitty shawarmas. They should be able to afford shawarmas with just one fucking sausage. Yeah, but the ones that have two sausages, an average man should not be able to afford that shawarma. Um, because they don't deserve it. Is that what you're trying to say? Like, I'm trying to wrap my brain, trying to get to the point of why somebody that can pull out 3,000 naira from their pocket to buy a shawarma and enjoy the shawarma, does not deserve it because the shawarma is good. That is only the people that are wealthy that should eat delicious shawarmas. Only the people that are making millions of naira should be able to spend hundreds of thousands of naira to eat one shawarma. And I know this stupid fucking conversation, this stupid tweet was done so that, because this restaurant just opened in this state here, and they opened on the island. So you see why I narrated the island. They opened on the island so that the wealthy in that area would be their patrons, yeah. So if the wealthy are their patrons there, they don't want to they don't want the wealthy people that are making millions of naira carrying around foreign currency to have to pay peanuts for their fucking shawarma. They want to sensitize wealthy people and the people that actually had aspirations to eat the shawarma. They want to sensitize them to prepare for what, a price change, and they also want to what, create a division. Hello Moses, hi. So they want to create this division between the classes with what, shawarma. It's not enough that there's a division of classes in standard of living, where somebody can live in the same state and one person lives like a king just because they live on the other side of the bridge, and one person lives like a poor man just because he lives on the other opposite side of the bridge. It's not enough for that. It's not enough that people on the island get almost stable electricity in their place. It is not enough. You also need to demarcate food, enjoyment of food. You want poor people to recognize that it is not for them. Okay, that this restaurant fucking shawarma that people in other countries make at the drop of a hat and sell for peanuts on the streets, that a poor man does not deserve to enjoy shawarma. That a poor man should use not 1/3 of his salary to buy shawarma, but a poor man should use 2/3 of his salary to buy shawarma, because I know they want to double the price of that fucking shawarma. And she now puts two sausages in capital letter as the basis of why the shawarma does not deserve to be at the price range of 3k. Price point of 3k should be higher because of two sausages. Nigerians don't eat proteins. Nigerians barely eat proteins if you want to talk about conversations about diet. And it's not because they don't like proteins, it's because of poverty. It's because the average man cannot just afford to buy chicken in his house. The way foreigners just go to the grocery store and get chicken, a Nigerian man, every Nigerian can't just go to the store and buy chicken. In fact, if you buy chicken at the store, you are kind of like foolish because it is more expensive at the store. Go to the market, the local open markets, and haggle with people that are also not even making too much from the sale of cold store of chicken and frozen foods. Yeah, haggle prices with them to be able to afford one leg of chicken that you're going to eat for the next 1 month. Hello Gora, welcome to the chat. So like it's just a very funny story. Yeah, Nigeria is just a funny place, and it's also funny. This story is funny because this is somebody that has suffered at the hands of this classist system, losing her apartment, and she's here preaching that even if she just lost her apartment, at least she's not in the level of an average man that suffers to get 3,000 naira to afford one spot of luxury in food, shawarma. So sausages should now be a luxury that an average Nigerian aspires to. Why? Because the restaurant puts gold inside it or what? Why? Because rich people should not have to pay, or rich people should not have to share the enjoyment of this local food with an average man. Like rich people should eat their own shawarma differently. So now, if an average man is paying 3,000 naira, 1/3 of his salary for one shawarma with two sausages, then a rich man should pay 10,000 naira or 7,000 naira for shawarma with maybe four sausages. Is that the mathematics that she's telling us the restaurant wants to do? I feel like what she's not seeing, you know, and why she cannot even see it is because she's ignorant of her class. She's ignorant of the class. She's not conscious of the class, the class systems that were existing in this country. Everybody likes to pretend we are all living in a vacuum where we work hard to make it, but it's a lie. There are some people that have extra steps. There are some people that are born into classes that will never go through the kind of suffering, people that are lower them have to go through to get to where they are as children. Yeah. So if you are born into upper middle class, yeah, obviously you now start aspiring to make it to what upper class, yeah, before you make it to what elites that have billions in their accounts and all of that shit, yeah. Funny thing about being upper middle class in this country, upper middle classes cannot even live on the island. That's the funniest thing of this conversation. Upper middle class in this country cannot live on the island. It's too freaking expensive. It's not worth it either. It's not worth it. So for you to live on the island, it means you are making intense money. No, I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic. Why do you ask? You welcome to the chat. Like, we just have to, like, I feel like I've been saying it for a long time here, but Nigerians need to wake up to the concept of class consciousness. We all need to be conscious of our classes before we make stupid statements. And the funny thing is that even if this restaurant is paying, this is West Africa, I'm from Nigeria. Even if this restaurant is paying you for this stupid fucking promo, even if they're paying you, do you understand that the money that you're going to make when they succeed in increasing the price of the shawarma, yeah, because of your stupid tweets, the money that they will pay you loses value, because now this point of like standard of your living is removed from you. You don't have access to it anymore. If you have to rely on freelance gigs of stupid brain dead promo tweets to make money, you have to understand that you are also adding to the pressure to survive in this country. There's no amount of money they're going to pay you that you are not going to suffer the effect of what they are doing. This tweet, when she was saying it, she's saying it like it's such a funny, harmless tweet that she's just making an observation as a patron of the restaurant. You get. I'm glad a lot of people went into her in the quotes and kind of called out the stupidity of the tweet here. But I feel like a lot of people are not really focusing on. I'm not talking about Ireland. I'm talking about Nigeria. A lot of people are not focused on what I'm calling class consciousness. A lot of people are not aware of that concept. They just feel like they're just using her as this single case in point. Like, oh, you that you just came to the internet to cry about losing your home to the floods, to the rains, yeah. We are now making tweet about how people should not be able to afford delicious shawarma. People should not be able to afford the shawarma, as if the chain you're talking about, the maker of the shawarma, the restaurant of the shawarma, is just like a struggling, poor guy on the street. You get. oh, he's just struggling to make it, he's just struggling to survive with his business. This is a successful restaurant chain that has done so well for itself that it is opening its third branch in this state. This is not the home state of the restaurant, okay? The home state of the restaurant is another part of the country. They open another one in another state, and now they're opening another one here. In how many years? This is a successful business chain, and you are defending it with pidgin English to kind of present as an average observer. You're not speaking English like proper English, you're speaking pidgin English to kind of cosplay as a local person that is just, noticing good food. Meanwhile, you live on the island. You are not local in that sense. You are not average. You live on the island. Your income class is way different from the person that are trying to deny access to this food item. So a she's just an imagery of it all. She's just a symbolic aspect of our society, this willful ignorance of classes and class systems and heritage in our society that pervade our society. It's a symbol of it, because it is not the first time it has happened. I think recently someone was telling me about how our mobile network MTN, yeah, one local Nigerian man used his influence online to complain about how, as he was making an ordinary observation, how MTN is giving us free, like the cost of the data plans that they give us is too cheap for the amount of data they are giving to us, they're providing us with. Not mind that this is the most expensive network. Even at that point he was making that stupid statement. This is the most expensive mobile network in our country, and fine, they have better services than the other ones that we have in our country, but that does not make them, it does not mean they are good in and of themselves. If they were with other mobile networks from other countries, they would fall flat on their face. They are so bad, but compared to the rubbish that already exists here, they are like the best one we can choose from. And that is why we understood, we kind of made, like, logicked out their, or rationalized the cost of their stupid data plans and their core plans. Now this fool came on Twitter and started talking about how we don't deserve it, that is too cheap. And then we now experience the largest increase in data plan for we've ever seen in years. It was not just a creeping change, it was a jump, and there was no warning, there was no consideration, and all of us had to bear the brunt of it. Till now we are still bearing the brunt of the stupid fucking expensive data plans that we have to buy just to use the internet in this country. Yeah, and now guess what? That fool, from the money he made promoting this stupid nonsense, he has emigrated, he has moved to the UK, he has run away. He's not suffering what he promoted that is good for us or is good for the country. He has run away to the UK. So he's never going to worry about MTN in his life, or his children are not going to worry about MTN in his life. And tomorrow, somebody will come on here and speaking pidgin to talk about why an average man should not eat shawarma of 3k, that is cheating on the part of the business, that the business is being cheated by us for giving us shawarma with 2 sausages and one fucking factory, one fucking chain made produced chapati. Like, are we in a comedy right now? Like, is this supposed to be funny or something? Like, nobody's laughing. Nobody's laughing. LMA or what? Nobody's laughing, clown. Nobody's laughing. Nobody's laughing. They like, it just like, they don't even think. They just say, oh, you have a gig, and the gig is to promote this product, promote this restaurant, promote it, because we will not give the. And again, it's not about this promo. Yeah, I have to mention that this state that I live in is a state, like, if you want to talk about, maybe if you talk about the New York of America, that is what the state I'm living is to this country, Nigeria. And things are just expensive based on what? PR. Things are just expensive because that's how Lagos is one of the highest producing states in our country. In fact, it is the highest producing state in our country. It's one that contributes the most to our GDP. And so that is as a result of the grueling systems of production and capitalism that we have to endure just to make a living in this state. Yeah, so if you want to start a business, this restaurant started a business in another state that does not have the same pressure of production, this pressure of overcrowding, overpopulation, and extreme levels of poverty. It does not have it though. Okay, it went to the states that was much easier to start a business in, started their business, grew their business, grew their customer base, and were able to make such profit that they could open another chain, another branch, sorry, in another state. And then with the success of those two branches, now they're opening their, I'm sure they want to make it the largest branch in this state I'm living in. So it's like we should feel for the massive corporate consumerist capitalistic business. We should feel, the 3K I'm giving this business, they're not going to make profit because I'm just using 3K to buy shawarma with two sausages. Poor business. Oh my god, poor, the business is going to die if people keep on paying 3,000 naira for shawarma with two sausages. Oh my god, the business is going to suffer. And this very important clown of our time, of the ages, has come to present this observation, this astute observation to the rest of us. Wow, where would we be without this foolishness? Where would we be without this immense ignorance, this stupidity? You know, how would we live our lives? How would we be able to further isolate poor people from the pleasures of life? Because if we are able to isolate the poor people from the pleasures of life, they'll be able to work harder and dream bigger, and move up the ladder to upper middle class, to middle class, from being poor. That's how you begin to understand that poverty is not one individual's fault. Poverty is systemic. I said it before about a stupid music video that I saw that was in Portis, where a rich man came and started making videos with people that lived on the streets, men that probably did not know where they were going to sleep that night, men that were probably going to sleep under the bridge, men that were suffering. He came to make a music video with them, and he dressed so differently from them. He didn't give them costumes. He let them appear the way they were. They looked so nasty. They looked so unkempt, and they were shot in black and white to emphasize that colorist agenda. Yeah, the danger of seeing such scary in my video proves it validates me as a rapper. And I was like, stop cosplaying as a poor man. Stop it. You can't even fully cosplay throughout the video as a poor man. There's another, then the second half of that video, he goes to a vinyl store with his fellow artists, and two of them stand there and they are drinking green tea and looking at music CDs, and enjoying aesthetic pleasure of music. But those street men are not in the video. They were not in that section of the video. They don't deserve to be there. They are poor, they are dirty, they are ratty. They don't fit in with this aesthetic of enjoying music. They don't fit in with it. Stay where I want you to prove the masculinity, my rapper validity, like validate my music here in this section. In this section, I want to show people I'm multifaceted, so I'm going to really show myself as a high class man drinking tea in a vinyl store. That's the same thing I'm talking about, that this clown is coming here to tell people that an average person does not deserve shawarma, ignoring the fact that 3,000 naira is 1/3 of somebody's salary. How is somebody supposed to budget for health emergencies, for education, for family upkeep, for savings with 10,000 naira? And the person now says, let me just take pleasure in this day, or something happened to me good today, let me spend 3,000 naira on shawarma. Funny thing about this state in particular is that the stupidity of the tweet is even so, it's like immense. You keep on turning it over and you're like, more levels of stupid. The transport from the mainland going to that fucking restaurant on the island is times 5. It can be times 5 of the cost of that shawarma. So I don't think an average person can even make it over there to buy the shawarma from the stupid restaurant. Yeah, if you consider that aspect, now you have to think about that she's now pushing, like she's part of the tool that is being used to create, even on the assume to be like me. I'm not on the island, but I see all of them that are on the island of upper class than where I'm at. Yeah, and so now they still want to create hierarchy in themselves, in that community, in that small section of this state. They still want to create a distinction between an average person for that state, or for that point of the state, for that island. Yeah, they still want to create hierarchies of classes, you know, by the food you buy. So if you live on the island and 3K is not a lot, like 3K is fair enough for you to like spend on shawarma, yeah, they want to be like, no, it should not be fair enough for you to spend money on this shawarma or two sausages. You should have to spend times three of that money to buy um this shawarma, because at the end of the day, the brand, the restaurant is trying to create what, this branded images of, no, 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 I might have started in this local part of this local state that is far away, that is not as cool as this state or as rich as this state, but now that we have a branch in the state, we are for the elite, we are for the people that have actual billions in their account. Yeah, don't say my restaurant is local. I want rich people to come to my restaurant, but if they come, they will start to see average people there, and they might not want to spend their money on me. You know, they might think I'm too cheap. Yeah. So let me isolate the people that can afford, you know, this shawarma from in this state, this small, not in this state, on this island. Let's isolate them. Let's make it exclusive for the wealthy, so that our restaurants in this state will be different from the restaurants in the origin states. Yeah, because of money. Because if you think about it, the average man is not going to spend to get to the island, or 15K to get to the island to buy shawarma on there. It's stupid. Nobody's going to do that. You know, nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. Even if you want to use your car to get to the island, like you have a car here and drive to get to the island, the fuel you spend, you can't spend anything less than 15K to get to the island from here, from this mainland. Traffic, the horrors of traffic in this state. So if you want to fill your tank up to get to the island from the mainland, you have to have at least 15K. Yeah, 15K to get to that stupid restaurant on the island, so that you spend what, 3,000 naira on shawarma. And even if you want to spend 3,000 naira on shawarma, somebody's saying you don't deserve to do that. You don't deserve to be able to do that. You should, it should be for the people that have foreign currency, you know, people that have billions. This is someone that just lost apartment to the rains due to corruption, and also this whole idea of gentrification of an entire section of the state. Yeah, to create classism, to create class hierarchy to their property. They are building it on the island to normalize a two-bedroom apartment being 2 million. Just normalize it like that. Like, just normalize it, because simply because it's on the island. Simply because it's on the island, you can charge 5 million naira for a maybe 3-bedroom. Like, simply because it's on the island, you are suffering from this class system. You are a victim of this class system, and you are here promoting such conversations because you feel that for you to say 3,000 naira is a tip, that means you don't spend, you don't worry about food. You don't have food insecurity. You spend anyhow on luxury food, on luxury experience of going to fine dining. Like, you can spend any. After you say 3,000 naira is a tip, and it's like, why is it that they never keep their mouth shut about their spending habits? If it's not that they want to keep pushing for hierarchy, they want to keep pushing for value in having, spending money on nonsense. What is there in shawarma? They make like shawarmas. When you say get popular in this country, 700 naira. They want to add extra sausage or something. They will put maybe 2 sausage, more meat, more chicken, all of that, and you can now say 1,000 naira. The last time was 1,500. Like, what did it be 3,000? 3,000 naira is too much. It's too much. 3,000 naira is too much for shawarma. I wish we were a country that can, you know, boycott to be coming to their stupid restaurant. They will make it lesser than before. What do you mean 3,000 naira for one shawarma because of 2 fucking sausages? If I slap something like you go and buy sausages in the store and fry, and you know, and you have 10 pieces of sausages, and you know that you feed your family well with sausage. 2 sausages inside shawarma that I've slathered with mayonnaise that I even hate. 3,000 if I slap you. You don't. Who is selling shawarma to for 3,000 naira? For stupid 2 sausages. What? What? Why? So stupid. It's stupid, but it's not about ignorance, eh? It's not about ignorance, poverty, all of the systemic ills. It's they exist because of stupidity. They exist because of ignorance. Because tell me why your enjoyment of a thing is lessened because an average person can afford it. Because you have billions in the bank accounts. So when you eat 3,000 naira shawarma, you feel like I'm not satisfied. Because I just saw somebody wearing Dunlop slippers to buy 3 cases of shawarma like me. Oh, shawarma must be bad. Why is the enjoyment of something that you like lessened because of another person's easy access to it? That's like stupid. So that is the funny story I wanted to talk about. Like, I don't even know how else to like. I don't know. Anyway, maybe one day somebody else will see this video. But that's a funny story I want to talk about. Like, it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, what are we doing here? Should I laugh? Should I laugh that in 1 year a product of 1,500 naira is now 3,000 naira? Who is laughing? LMA or what? Who is laughing? Who is laughing? It's not funny. Nothing is funny. Nothing. There's nothing funny going on in this country. It might not be serious, but it's not funny. Like, and that's why I already made a video about Dangote, like how people are always quick to pick the side of the corporation. People are always quick to pick the side of the monopolists. People are always quick to pick the side of the big restaurant chain in this country. I don't know why they have loyalties to their oppressors. Why do you have loyalty with your oppressor? Why? Why should shawarma be exclusive? That's how all these Yahoo boys made their joggers, common joggers that everybody used to have, like just anyhow clothing item in this country. If you just ask another, like when I was a child, it was so common. Joggers were everywhere. Like you could just go to the market, buy second-hand joggers, wear out. When the thing is worn out, to buy another one. No stress, no nothing. Now, because of a certain group of people that want to spend the money that they made unlawfully through fraudulent means, they now kind of created an identity out of joggers, and they gentrified joggers, and now joggers is nothing less than 50k. Boutiques sell joggers. You can't find joggers in hand-me-downs. You can't find joggers in second-hand like open markets anymore. They are now being refurbished and packaged and sold in boutiques as luxury clothing items. The same way iPhones too have. Yeah, God has captured those iPhone obsessed users, because I hate that guy. I hate whatever he represents. I hate everything he represents. But I think it's interesting that he has found out that iPhone 17 is just what refurbished iPhone XR. If you ask me to point out two iPhones, yeah, like just randomly, I wouldn't know the difference between any iPhone. I just don't care. It's not as if I'm better for knocking. I just don't. It doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't feel this. Um, I don't feel this win anytime I like think about iPhones. Like, oh, owning an iPhone is something to be aspirational about. If I think about it like, oh, I don't have a camera, so maybe if I had an iPhone, my videos would be better, my quality of my videos would be better. But like, I don't really care too much about it anymore, because now I know how iPhones are being made. But then the situation on hand is that iPhone 17 and Nigerians were so quick to cop and buy and use their blood to spend to buy. You know, they're just refurbished iPhone XRs. I saw the video and I was like, if I saw these two objects on the floor and he pointed those two objects out to me and I blinked, I would forget what those objects are. Like, I don't know the differences between iPhones. It's just funny to I wish I did, so I can so I can notice people's phones. But and then again, what is there in an iPhone? It is made with blood. Children in Congo are suffering, are being killed in cobalt mines to make iPhones at cheap quality, cheap prices, so that Americans can package it and sell it to their citizens. And Nigerians feel like they'll be closer to America status or a rich man status if they owned an iPhone 17 and they owned an iPhone 16. So like for people to be able to make a whole business, out of refurbishing, like now iPhones are now set like an average Nigerian cannot afford it. Even if you see somebody take out loans to buy iPhone, it still speaks of its own affordability. Okay, it's not having iPhones that makes it affordable. Yeah, how did you get to the point of owning an iPhone? That process is what defines its affordability. So iPhones are not affordable for the average Nigerian, though you see a lot of Nigerians holding iPhones. It's just a class thing, and I'm saying a lot of Nigerians because I live in a state where, again, a very rich state in paper, yeah, it's not showing in the people because we are overpopulated in the states. There is overcrowding issues, and a lot of people are living way below the poverty line in the state, especially in this state. So a lot of people are living on the streets. A lot of beggars, a lot of children are being trafficked, you know, in this state. So I can't call it a rich state. I don't know what kind of wealth that, I don't know, wealth does not look like that to me. But anyways, in this state, we have a lot of people with iPhones. Anybody you walk around on the street, you just meet, it's an iPhone they're using. Like, it's just what it is in this state, yeah. But yeah, that's another thing that has been co-opted, to show class, to signify class. Class signifiers in this country include what? Fine dining, food, joggers, like maybe up and down, gray sweatpants, gray jackets, class signifiers, and iPhones. What else? Cars, maybe among people that are already wealthy, then there are different kind of classes of cars. If you own a Sienna, if you own uh, if you own a Sienna like minivan, yeah, you are like at the bottom of those wealthy class, yeah, bottom, because not an average person cannot just own a Sienna minivan. It's in millions and millions of naira. It's not for lower middle class. It's not even for, yeah, it's not for lower middle class. Upper middle classes can have a Sienna, but still you're at the bottom of class. Bottom of the class. When we talk about people that own cars, we have all this X class message. I'm just saying something that I just remember. I don't know cars as well. X class. What other thing they used to say? Message. I don't know names, but like cars are also used to denote classes, but among the wealthy, not among average Nigerians. I don't think an average Nigerian thinks of car. Yeah. When I say average, I mean like lower middle classes. Yeah. They might have cars, but they will not use it all the time because fuel is too expensive. The roads are too bad. Once your car is injured on the road, you repair. You just park it in one corner of your house and sayonara to it. So plenty class signifiers in this country. When you come to this country, you immediately are slotted into a class. Yeah, you can't escape it. So shawarma now should be already. People are already having conversations early in this year as how, wow, the way the naira is being devalued, the rate at which it is being devalued. Little things like burgers, fast food, are becoming like a luxury now. Like shawarma is a luxury. Before this lady made this conversation, 3,000 naira is too much for shawarma. It's 1/3 of somebody's salary. Shawarma, 1/3 of somebody's salary. Oh, let's not even talk about rent. Let's not talk about rent. So if all of those things are like what can they not take away from people, to further isolate themselves in their bubble of wealth and then continue to oppress, people that are below them. That's why I say poverty is systemic. It's not somebody's fault. It's not the result of somebody not praying well. It's not the result of somebody not keeping doing night vigil. It's not the result of somebody hustling. Let's not even talk too much about religion anymore because I always bash religion. But then hustle culture is a real thing in this country where people feel like if you are not wealthy because you're not working hard, you don't know how to network, you don't know how to meet the right people, all of that crap. Yeah. So because when you see poor people, it's not to now recognize how You probably didn't work hard. You don't know how to hustle. You don't know coding. You don't know how to do graphic design. You're not good at tech, so that's why you're poor. There are a lot of opportunities for people in tech, but if you don't know how to learn all those things in tech, then well, maybe you deserve to be poor. It's like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. So basically, that's just the funny story I wanted to narrate today. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people have been like coming and leaving and joining the chat here. So I don't know if I ask question like, so I wonder what people feel about this kind of conversation. So like I want to hear what people feel about the story that I told. And I also want to understand, like, is that bad, wherever you're from, whatever side of the world, you live in, like, do you notice the comedy of classism, yeah? How people that are in a certain class are not even loyal to their class members, how people in a certain class sacrifice people in their class to gain upward mobility, yeah? I wonder about that. I wonder about that. It's just sad to think about.
Hi.
So, something interesting about this particular, I'm on page 43 here. So, something interesting about this particular section that I'm reading here. So Victor is talking about, is telling the captain, Walton, about how he, came about, how he veered from his study of the natural sciences, and then started focusing on, how to say it, science of like mysteries and all of that, yeah. And he keeps on mentioning how, he left his studies for this and all of that, and he was so very intense about this mystery and, life and the unknown and all of that, yeah. I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not using that word, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with kind of with exploring the unknown, but there always has to be a foundation of like boring general studies, yeah, because without that foundation of like regular studies, yeah, nobody's saying you have to go to school, but there needs to be a level of education, that you allow yourself to experience, yeah. If you don't allow yourself, the experience of education, yeah, and just go off straight into the mysteries, I fear you might end up in the pseudoscience theory. You might end up in a pseudoscience planet here where things are suspicious and, science is not real, and the theories and the laws of science are fake. And then you start to say things like vaccines are dangerous and vaccines will kill your children and you should not vaccinate your dog, you know or you start to say things like physicists, are deceiving you. You start to say things like research that has been carried out for years and years and years, and that have led to beautiful results for humanity and have improved human life on earth. You start to discount all of that effort, all of that base foundation here, base and foundation, isn't it? You start to discount all that and start building castles in the air. And it's like, yes, this guy, this Victor, eventually made, the creature and all of that. But like the creature turned out to be a monster in his own words. So, and he kept on describing um, how the thought process that led him to creating that creature, how it was his ruin, how it ruined his life, how it turned him into something, how it became. I think from my own, I've not finished reading the book yet, but it's like he, in this moment here, for the creation of that creature here, he is the monster here. He's the monster, and it's like all of that ignorance and castles in the air turns you into a monster, whether you are aware of it or not. And you're usually not aware of it until destruction has come upon you. You know that kind of conversation. So I don't know, the way he was just talking about how he should have focused on his regular natural science studies, how he should have stuck to the rigors of regular studies, instead of chasing after Cornelius and Paracelsus and their philosophy and their what's the name of this thing? Said love, philosopher's stone, and elixir of life. Instead of chasing after the elixir of life, yeah, if he had focused on his studies, I feel like he would have eventually gotten to the point where he would want to chase after something like an elixir of life, but he will be grounded, yeah, by what he already knows. Instead of going off on a hot air balloon chase, or just feeding himself with hot air, with just pseudoscience and all of that. um yeah, I think I'm going to have fun. And the story is not so long, yeah. And my experience with the story is not so long. This is just the entire book. My experience with Apuleius's Odyssey of an Ass, yeah, has kind of relieved me of this pressure um, that I experienced when whenever I opened books that are written in that time period, like Victorian era books or Grecian tales or Grecian period, yeah. All of those stress, that I used to feel. Maybe it was boredom, maybe it was like a plain difficulty, with processing the way these people wrote and the way they spoke and the way their storytelling went on, yeah. Like instead of struggling with it, because I was able to get through the Golden Axe by Apuleius, I feel like now my head is kind of it's like that aspect of my reading ability has been exercised, has been oiled, and now it's not so hard for me to like read through the pages of the story, yeah, which it would have been hard for me, like if I had not gone through that book. So I'm very grateful. Um, I still have another book I'm going to read. Uh, what's the name of the book? Aristophanes. Yeah, I'm still going to read that book, and then I still have Dante the Divine Punishments, or Dante's Inferno to read. And that one, the last time I tried opening it, it was so scary to me. Like, where do I begin? And I think that is mostly poems, yeah, but that is telling a story. I've never read it before, but I have a copy now. So I think by the time I'm done with like Frankenstein and Aristophanes, yeah, I might be able to handle, Dante's Inferno to. That's not what it's called. It's Dante the Divine Comedy. Yeah. How interesting. I might be able to handle, like, even if I just to start the book. Yeah, I might be able to start it. Okay. So anyway, this is chapter 3. Um. Yeah. So I wanted to like encourage like a sort of conversation here. Maybe people will be able to like share their opinions or whatever about what I'm saying, but maybe that's not the type of day I'm having today. So um, I think I'll just call it here. For people that are able to like sit through my long stories and to listen to me just like kind of rant, and kind of express my feelings about um, issues that matter to me. Thank you for staying. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate your presence here. Um, yes, I'm going to call it a day here on the stream. I'll continue reading my book. Um, so I'll see you in the next live stream. If you are new here, I think that's just what I do. I talk about books, movies. I have regular chats with everybody. If people want to chat, if people are willing to chat with me, I speak with them as well. Exchange ideas, thoughts and all of that. And then sometimes we talk about books. I read poetry from poets, yeah, established poets, not my poetry. So that's what I do on my channel. So I hope you subscribe, you stick around and you check me out again on another live stream Um, Thank you, anyways, for spending time with me today. I truly appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye bye.